To answer these questions, Milgram went on to perform 18 different variations of the experiment. All told, 636 people participated in a version of the Milgram experiment. The results consistently showed that obedience was an unbelievably powerful force across many different lines. Men obeyed, women obeyed, Ivy League students obeyed, average people from an inner city obeyed. But one variation demonstrated the specific impact of the trusted authority figure, the man in the lab coat. In this version, just before the experiment began, researchers staged an important phone call that the man in the lab coat had to take. To keep the experiment going, the researcher was replaced by a different actor. This new man was introduced as an ordinary member of the public. He wore street clothes instead of a lab coat. And the new leader used the same verbal prods as the researcher did, such as, "Please continue," and "The experiment requires that you go on." But the results were not the same. Remember that with the researcher in the lab coat, 2 out of 3 participants went all the way to 450 volts. Without the researcher leading the experiment, only 1 out of 5 continued all the way to the end. Now, 1 out of 5 is still a lot of people, and we'll talk about some of the other psychological principles at play that contribute to this very high level of compliance, even in this variation of the experiment. But the difference between 1 out of 5 and 2 out of 3 is huge. Most people will follow an authority figure toward risky choices. Given the exact same situation, most people won't follow an ordinary person. Some implications of the Milgram experiment are certainly dark, but we don't get to choose human nature. We only choose how to work with it. And the findings of the Milgram experiments can be used for good as well as evil. One powerful principle is obvious and undeniable. When it comes to guiding our decisions, authority matters. Now, what does authority have to do with sales? What we'll learn is that when we think of someone as a trusted expert, it is human nature to begin treating that person as having some amount of authority over us. And as the Milgram experiment demonstrates, when we trust an authority figure, we often stop following our own intuition, for better or worse. Viewed in this light, it's no wonder that it's a challenge to persuade your clients that you're a trustworthy expert. Their resistance is a natural and appropriate response. They just want to make sure they can trust you before they follow your lead. Yet authority is an unavoidable part of technical sales, whether you are conscious of it or not. So next, let's turn our attention from the extraordinary experiments of Milgram to the ordinary uses of authority that we encounter every single day